there's always a crowd, and there's always a nobody. All of us go through life, and we have our list of things to do. But here's the thing. There's always a crowd, and there's always a nobody. It says this in verse 24, and a great crowd followed him and thronged about him. And then it says, and there was a woman. Now, the interesting thing is you look historically at what was going on. The city that he was traveling in, what would have been tight in the wall. He said, it says, the theologians believe that could have been thousands that were literally following Jesus. I mean, these were big crowds. If you're raising the dead, if you're healing the sick, if you're multiplying bread, there's going to be a lot of people following you. And there's these great crowds that are following Jesus. And when we go through life, here's the deal. They may not be great crowds, but there are always crowds of people that are following, that are with you, that are around you, that are in, that are out, that are doing things. And there's always the nobody. See, the crowd will distract you. The crowd will distract you and hide you from what you're called to do. Things around you, people around you, when we get into these places, will pull you into places that you were never supposed to be. The crowd will keep you right on task to your to-do list. But that's not necessarily what Jesus has. It says, but the Bible says this. It says, in the crowd, there was a woman. In this crowd of people, there was a woman. Who was she? I did all this research. I'm like, who is this woman? Because it only speaks of her as this woman. Not really important. No name, no history. It just says this woman. And I'm digging and I'm looking. I'm like, who is this woman that is in the Bible for history? She was a nobody in the crowd. Look, doesn't she realize and doesn't she understand who Jesus is? Didn't she understand Jesus had a schedule to keep, yet she wanted to distract him? Look, didn't she understand how important Jesus was? Look, there's crowds of people, and Jairus' daughter is dying, and if Jesus doesn't get there, they're out of luck. And they're heading to Jairus' house. And it's an important time because someone is dying. Yet there's this woman, this nobody in the crowd, who's pulling on Jesus' cloak, his garment. She's a nobody in the crowd. Who was she? She was the least of these. She's your coworker. She's your neighbor. She's the addict that I saw across the street from my house, 6 months ago, smoking crack. She's the homeless person that you walk by every single day. She's the guy that helps you at Taco Bell if you were to eat at Taco Bell, like said people in my house. She's the lady at the cleaners that when the mask mandate lifted and I wasn't wearing my mask, I've told this story, and someone said, "Where's your mask?" I yelled back that I'm a doctor and these things don't really work. So not only did the pastor yell back at someone, he lied to the person. She's the one at the pokey place that I go to 3 times a week, whose mother is going to die in 2 weeks, and getting my ahi tuna, talking to, going, what's going on in your life? She's the man or woman you've walked by 100 times and never said a word to. She's the nobody. She's the least of these. The Bible says this in Matthew 25:40 about the least of these. And the king answered them, "Truly I say to you, as you did to one of the least of these, my brother, you did to me." As you've done to, one of these people, you've done to Jesus. As you've engaged someone here, you've engaged Jesus. As you've taken the time to encounter someone that is the least of these, you've encountered Jesus. She was the least of these. For some of us, she's your son or your daughter your wife or your husband. For some of us, I was talking with a young guy today, well, not that young, but his family, or this week, and he was telling me he's completely estranged from his family, and there's no relationship, and it just broke my heart. Now, I don't know what happened. He wouldn't give all the details. I don't know what happened on either side, but the least of these, for some of us, let me tell you this, you could live in the same house with your son, daughter, or wife, or husband, and they could still be the least of these. And in fact, it's one of the reasons we see divorce in America. It's one of the reasons that our kids do what they do, because in our own homes, they become the least of these. We don't even see them.